What is up? It's the nerdy entrepreneur Lauren here. Coming here with an update. And you're gonna love it. Let me tell you something, you're gonna love it. This is the reason why I know a lot of entrepreneurs that came up from the I'm gonna be a copywriter world, the IM world as internet marketing, for those of you who don't know, don't like doing businesses where they have employees because they have to worry about management, they gotta worry about paying other people, and they gotta worry about when employees do the wrong thing. Hell, they got to worry about that with contractors. That's why a lot of them don't even use contractors. Even, they reach their cap in clients and they don't want to sub out any of their work. One, because quality, and two, because you go through the stuff I go through. Now, I have the cleaning business. Remember, my goal is to get to around 780,000 a year eventually. So that's going to be a multi-year journey to get there. And it starts with having good cleaners. Now, I don't have any cleaning employees as of yet. I am subcontracting out all our work. So I don't do any cleans myself. I subcontract all of my work as of right now. That's what I do. One day, when we have enough revenue being generated on a month-to-month basis, I will start to hire a couple of cleaners eventually. But that ain't today, and it's not for the rest of this year. That's going to be way in the future. So until then, I deal with contractors. And some of my contractors are sick. They have COVID, and they're out of it. So unfortunately, there's some of my good cleaning contractors, like really good, but they're out for the count. They're sick, so they can't work. And then I have those who are left. One of those cleaners I discovered last week has been stealing time. We have a system where the contractors clock in and clock out of each job. It lets us know when they're at a location and when they're done at a location because we bill hourly. So with us billing hourly, that means that the less hours you work, the less money you get paid. Now I have minimums, right? There's always a minimum. So they'll never make less than a certain amount. That's just what it is. But I try to get my cleans, your cleans should be done within a certain amount of time. And I have some cleaners that, they're a little slower, but they're no more than really 15 to 18 minutes off on some of the worst cleans they've done. And by worst cleans, I mean not they were doing bad work, but that the place was a complete disaster. Like one time, the place was a damn complete disaster. And I'm surprised that she only went over 18 minutes, to be honest with you. I was surprised. I'm like, damn, you're good. So that doesn't matter. However, we have one cleaner who started off okay. They would come in early, and then they started coming in consistently late to jobs. And then I noticed the timer was running really late. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I was like, is it that bad in there? So I'm like, all right, let me keep an eye on this to see what happens. So last week, we had a clean for someone who was supposed to be a recurrent client for us. Now, I will say that we will not have that person as a client again. They probably will never use us again because of some of the things that happened. Number one, she didn't finish the job. She left to go do another clean, which is doesn't reflect well on my company because people don't give a fuck about your cleaners. They give a damn about you. It's you. You're the evil one. Even though all these people are contractors, these people are not my employees. I can't tell them how to clean. I can give them a guideline of make sure that you clean the inside of the refrigerator because they asked us to clean the inside of the refrigerator. Right, that kind of stuff. That's what I can give them. And that's what I do. We have a checklist of, hey, these are the things that people ordered. And so make sure you get that clean. However you do it, great. And that's what we do because people order specific things from us. This cleaner did not finish it. In fact, the person who owned the home had to go back and clean it themselves. And they gave me all the details about it, showed me pictures, all of that. So the cleaner did not complete the clean. And then when I checked into the GPS system that tells us where they clocked in and clocked out, I noticed that they clocked out at their other clean after their other clean was done. So a clean that should have been 3 hours, all of a sudden, mythically, turned into 9. Come on now. So that person has to go. Now here's the other thing. The client has a ring light system, so they can clock in when people come in and out. So they knew that when she got there, she sat around for 20 minutes, but was billing me for time. They also know what time she left, was she left early, and they sent me that information. So of course, with that right there, for most companies, if you're caught stealing time, that's it. There is no negotiation. There's nothing. You're out. You're done. So I was like, you know what? Let me see, because they were scheduled for more cleans. I was like, let me see if they repeat this situation. And they did. The next day, they had 2 cleans, and they did the exact same thing. When the person was home, I noticed they cleaned more things, which is good. But once again, they didn't turn off the timer. They did whatever they did for the last few hours with the timer running. And then they got to the next clean. So yeah, you see how this is already going. So what they did was because the thing is, every clean, I call after the clean and evaluate what happens. I ask them, hey, what time they leave? I do all of the evaluation questions. So this is stupid to do, because that's how I evaluate how well someone did something. So it's really stupid to be stealing time at this stage of the game. But they were doing it. So, people try it. It is. I've worked retail and shit like that. People do it all the time. I've worked corporate jobs where people have stolen time and shit. Like, they do stupid shit. It's just some people are a lot slicker with it, right? Had she been stealing like 10 to 15 minutes of time, I probably wouldn't have noticed it unless it became a big deal. Like, if she was doing a really good job, like doing everything or super, super duper cleans, and she was just taking like 10 minutes at a time, I probably wouldn't have looked for it, because the only thing that prompted me was because I was looking at something that didn't make sense, right? Like 9 hours for a clean, 6 hours for a clean. And here's the thing. I didn't check where the GPS point was. I just looked and was like, you know what? She probably forgot to turn the timer off. That's what happened. She forgot to turn the timer off. Because I will give you the benefit of the fucking doubt, right? I'll give you the fucking benefit of the doubt. Because even though I like to go in that way, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh shit, she turned it and she left and forgot. And it was a great clean. You know what didn't give me the benefit of the doubt? When I talked to the client was unhappy. So therefore, I lost someone who technically was worth about $1,800 or more a year for me. So yeah, this client was worth about 18 to probably 22 and a half. Like 20 is either 1,800 a year up to maybe 22,500 a year. Oh no, excuse me, my math is all fucked up. Sorry. Yeah, they were worth about, let's see, 3-bed, deep clean. Like, I know what their house schematics are like, and I know how much it usually costs. So yeah, they were going to be worth anywhere between $1,800 and about maybe $2,200 a year for me and Clayton, which is nice recurring revenue, right? They're going to be somewhere in there. And because of her, I lost a recurring client, and that's a no-no. So you cost me money and you're trying to steal time from me. So you got to go bye-bye. But here's the thing. My other cleaner is sick. My other cleaner will be stretched out too thin. So what I did was I was like, let me keep her on for one more clean, which is today. Today would be her last clean. Her last clean, okay? And it will be her last clean. Usually I pay a week behind. She's getting all of her money this week. After I had to go do auditing. Now, I took copious notes. And then I just got through going over my books to make sure I'm squared away and okay. Because I had to move things around because there's cleans I just had to cancel because my cleaner's sick. So I didn't collect as much money as I was supposed to collect because I have 2 cleaners that have COVID and they're out for the count. So it's done. So that's, it is what it is. But, I take copious notes. I went over my payroll. I was like, okay, I can afford to get my payroll, which is always the number one for me. And this chick is out. She's out. I'm not going to argue with anybody. She's not my employee, right? She's a contractor who violated the terms. And then our contract is do not steal time. If you steal time, our contract at any time is liable to be ended. Now, once again, when you're dealing with subcontractors, you got to watch and be careful. But also with subcontractors, you have to understand something. You don't want to treat them like employees because they're not employees. When you start treating them like employees and you get filed from the state, guess what? The state will come after you like, hey, you got to pay payroll tax. And then you got to attempt to prove that they weren't employees. In my case, I have all my documentation. They worked whenever they wanted. They've only done a few cleans for me. ever. I've never told them what to clean. I've never supplied anything. They had to bring their own stuff. There was no t-shirts given out. I don't give them uniforms and none of that stuff. And they did what they wanted to do. In this case, they started stealing time and not completing jobs and stuff like that. And so she did it today again. In fact, I turned off the timer because there's a clean that's really a one-person clean. I put 2 people on it. She was one of them because I wanted to test. I can't trust her to be by herself, so I had to test. And she did the same thing again. In fact, I turned off the timer manually and did some other things. I came back, she turned the timer back on, I turned it back off. So maybe she might get the hint if she's smart. I don't know if she's that smart to figure out that, oh shit, I done fucked up. Because based on the payroll, if I go based on her hours, she has over 17 hours. When that's not true. That's not true at all. Because she had the timer running for hours across town. Because it was timer is one thing, right? If I go start checking the GPS point to see where the hell you were versus where you were supposed to be, that's really the nail in the coffin. So like I said, if she was doing super duper work, I probably would have chalked up the timer situation that, oh shit, she forgot to press stop on the timer. And I just would have corrected it. And I wouldn't have looked at, oh shit, this chick has had she's stealing time. I'd have been like, oh yeah, she forgot to, put stop on the timer. I'll talk to her and be like, hey, listen, you got to put stop on the timer. And that would have been it. But she kept doing it concurrently. Like if it was just that day the claim was super duper and I had my recurring client still, I'd be like, oh fuck, she probably forgot to turn off the timer or something happened. But when you do it multiple days in a row on multiple cleans, and I had to turn around and ask all these questions to the people who I shouldn't be asking questions to, which are my clients, in order to figure out what the hell you're doing, it is time to go bye-bye. So she's fired, essentially. We're ending that contract. But this is some things that you have to go through. If you decide to be an entrepreneur in whatever business you start, you'll have to go through. I got a whole other video on another situation. But part of that situation is my fault. But the good thing is, because I keep a moat of money, I can survive the situation. But I'll talk to you about that in the next video. But that's the kind of shit that happens. So, but that's okay because that cleaner's going by. All the access gone. They're getting the last money. And truthfully, I'm going to pay them a little bit more than what they actually should get because I know the exact times they left jobs and they didn't stay to complete their jobs and they didn't complete doing what they were supposed to do at the jobs. So technically, I could subtract a good 20 minutes less because I have it documented. Screenshots, everything, statements, all of that. There's one thing about me. See, I've worked corporate. I've had to give reports. I've had reports given to me about me and had to defend myself. So I understand how to write a report really, really well that has to be turned over to potential government agencies. So I'm very good at that. But, sometimes these people are stupid. They fucking stupid. If you are in a clock-in system, do you think it's not going to track where the hell you clocked in? Probably not, because sometimes they don't think that far. People don't think that far. It's like when you steal time at a retail store. I'm like, eventually you will get caught stealing time. Eventually you will get caught stealing time. I know that around the world it's been weird because of, employment issues. Like I went to go get lunch today with my business partner and they have a big for hire sign at this place because they don't have enough people. And yeah, cleaning is always a recurring in and outdoor kind of thing. But it's something that we all go through in this industry. We all go through it. But the one thing you got to do is nail these types of problems in the head. So I like to do my little bit of investigating reporting. I will turn around and let someone do something two, 3 more times because I am tracking them. I am building a case. Some people just get rid of them straight away. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you get brought up in some governmental bullshit because a contractor wants to get even with you, you better have paperwork. You better write a report. You better have documentation with pictures and all that stuff. Because if it ever comes back, you at least have some documentation on it. In my case, I got timesheets. I got timesheets versus GPS location plus statements plus pictures from other people's ring lights. And I call them ring lights, but they're not ring lights. The camera things that they have they have a security system in their house. So it tracks when people leave and come back. And I have all that documentation and I'm keeping it on the file and save it somewhere. So in case it ever comes up, hey, here it is. Boom, 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 boom. Here's how many pages they got. Boom, 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 boom. This is what they signed. Da-da-da. Here's the violation. All that is there. That's why we do what we do. So if you're ever in that situation, I say, cover your own ass. Make sure you do reports. A lot of businesses, small businesses don't do reports. There's a reason why you write reports so that when you have to fire someone, doesn't matter if it's a contractor, it doesn't matter if it's an employee, have documentation of what was done, how it was handled, and keep it on hand. Keep it on hand so that you can always bring it back up, because when you go to call to fire this person, hey, listen, on X, Y, Z, A, B, C date, this is what we recorded you. This is the statements we have. Be able to do that. Yes, it's extra work, but guess what? If you're going to build a business, if you're going to be doing this, you're going to need that. You need that even if you don't have the type of business I have, which is a home service business, like a cleaning business. You need to document those things and do further investigation, because I'm always watching. I'm like, these hours don't seem right, But once again, had she been doing really good work and maybe was only stealing 5 to 10 minutes every so often, not all the time, but every so often, I probably wouldn't have caught it as quick. It probably would have been another month before I started really looking at it, because I do a timesheet audit, right? So I do an audit. I wouldn't have really caught something probably until maybe there was an audit. I was doing an audit to look at what I was paying out to contractors and everything. So she could have been like, all right, I'm going to take 10 minutes from this job and then I'm going to wait 8 jobs and take 10 minutes. And I probably wouldn't have seen anything really, because I'm like, 10 minutes when I noticed it, right? It would have to be, see, that's how people wind up taking time or stealing time from jobs from a long period of time. If they take a whole chunk of time, a whole lot of time, they're going to get caught very fast. If they take like 5 to 10 minutes here and there, it's a lot harder to catch people a lot of times, right? Especially if they're not coming in and out of an office, right? But this one wasn't smart. She wasn't smart at all. She thought we were stupid here. We're not stupid at my cleaning company. We're not. We just pay attention to things. That's why we always ask questions. I always ask a lot of questions. Here's the thing. With us, when there's a job that I honestly don't need 2 people for, and yet I will place 2 people in, it's because I'm probably monitoring you. You have tripped up something, because it's not about how long the clean is at this point. It's about me monitoring you. Do you take as long? Did you actually complete the clean, right? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Because it might be that the only way I can trust you to do cleans is that you have to be paired up with somebody versus being by yourself, because you're not going to complete the clean correctly. But it's those things you start catching people all the time, and it's all fine. I'm about hiring. I'm already on my job ads up and hiring more people. I've already interviewed 2 people. I've already been doing my thing, and that's what you got to do. But yeah, this one was pretty stupid. Like pretty damn stupid. Like, I'm going to run 17 hours. Like, think about it. One cleaning job that should have taken the most 3.5 hours, all of a sudden takes 9 hours and 58 minutes. 9 hours, 58 minutes. Right? And then you do something where you're like, okay, a job that takes 2.5 hours, all of a sudden it takes 4 hours. And then all of a sudden another job that's supposed to take 3 hours and 45 minutes, all of a sudden that takes 5 hours and what was it, 5 hours and 38 minutes. Call the people. We always call, we always follow up, we always ask questions and all that, because we bill hourly. So if you run time, and here's the thing, we bill hourly. So you're going to be found out. Because if you keep going off, like once again, she go off 5 minutes, 10 minutes every so often, but not all the time. Eventually, I would have caught it when we did the next audit. Because my next audit to really do everybody's sheets is in September, right? September. So I would have caught it probably the middle to end of September when I do the next audit, right? That's when I would have caught me like, oh, yo, shit, she's taking like 20 minutes of time, right? That's when I officially probably would caught it if it was done smartly. It wasn't done. It wasn't done smartly, in a smart fashion. It was done stupidly. But the way she did it, she was trying to rape us with time, because the amount of freaking money she would have had to get paid out, like this timesheet being approved, dude, it would have been, she would have got hundreds of dollars. I mean, I think the total would have been close to $1,200 for two jobs. Right, two jobs, right? Two maybe. Yeah, it's about two, three jobs. Yeah, and no, it won't. We ain't even near that at this point. So she screwed herself because technically I had like six other jobs lined up. That now, since she's out, since we're getting rid of that thief, because she's a thief. Since we're getting rid of that thief, the other, my other cleaner who's there, my other one that's coming back from vacation, thank goodness, will be getting those jobs. So they're actually going to make double or more. And I'm trying not to burn them out until my other cleaner comes back from being sick and then hiring a new one. But craziness, right? Craziness. But this is what you got to deal with. That's why you got to keep track of stuff. That's why it's good not to be cheap on your damn software. Because if I used a software that didn't track time and didn't track the GPS location, it would have been a bit harder to do this. But, you know, that's just the trials of having a cleaning business. Anyway, see you guys later. I am the Nerdy Entrepreneur. Stay tuned for another video on our journey to 780